Well, today is Orville Day on Trekzone. Co-producer Tom Costantino is joining me for a Trekzone conversation, and I'm going to see just how far behind the Season 3 curtain we can peek.
Across Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts and YouTube, this is the 8th season of a Trekzone Conversation with Matt Miller.
And it is a very warm welcome back to Trekzone for Mr. Costantino, the co-producer on the Orville, Tom.
Hello.
Thanks for a little bit of your time today, dude. I know it's been a bit crazy.
Yeah. I guess that's my professional statement. Yeah. Well, when the zombie apocalypse is over and, as I made a joke on Twitter earlier, the cannibals from behind the glory hole will come for our blood or whatever, our brains. For us Orvillians, we'll see what's left.
We'll pick up the pieces and we'll move on.
We'll move on.
Humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously this COVID-19 thing is gripping the world at the moment, and all sorts of things are happening. Is there anything we can sort of ask as to what's happening with the Orville? Obviously it's coming, it is planning to come up later in the year.
Yes, this show will move forward in some capacity. Things are very much in flux. I hate to be, we really don't know what kind of delays could come or other things, but we will try to push forward in the best way possible. We still need humans interacting with other humans to make spaceships fly, so we're going to have to figure that out very shortly. Yeah, no, I think it's kind of not to be all grim and dim. I think we have to just sort of like take it week by week. But the show will happen. It will finish, and it will be, hopefully, to quote Borders, glorious. I can't believe I said that. That's so cliche. Sorry, man. You're getting cheesy, Tom. I apologize.
Mate, I absolutely love it and appreciate the time, because obviously it is a very confusing time at the moment. Here in Australia, the Prime Minister announced on Friday that any mass gathering over 500 people is going to be cancelled. Our major sporting codes are now going to, or at least the Australian Football League, is holding matches with no spectators. Normally we get 70, 80,000 people to these games. It's going to be really interesting to see the season opener on Thursday night with no one in the crowd but officials. It's a very strange time indeed for everything. But as you say, and to put another cliche on it, the show must go on. And when people are all self-quarantining at home, we need something to watch.
Yes.
And that's where the TV shows have got to come in. You guys are the front line.
Well, that's the idea. And actually, that was literally my UPM calling me on the other line. the super talented Howard Griffith, who makes all the magic happen. I know we've mentioned it before, but like he pulls off miracles to build things in space down from the Fox lot. I'm tempted to call him back, and I might have to go deal with the future.
Well, while Tom checks in with his unit production manager, a quick moment to remind folks about staying in touch. Just search for Trekzone wherever you get social. We're on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Of course, on YouTube too. Catch visually enhanced editions of our audio podcasts 5 days a week. Or find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and Google Podcasts, plus a few other apps. Whatever your flavour, just search for a Trekzone Conversation and you'll find us. Throughout this coronavirus or COVID-19 crisis and isolation period, we'll be here podcasting 5 days a week. Okay, Tom's back, and Tom, you've been working hard on Season 3 with a whole bunch of great people. The move to Hulu from Fox Broadcasting. What's this move to streaming done for you guys?
I got to tell you, so many things. Look, Fox is amazing. They have been amazing, but they have the ability to tell these an hour long with a little extra stories, and I do mean hour long. The scope has gotten bigger. You're making story decisions based on story, not on a time clock. And also having a little more room to breathe in terms of, being able to spend some more time shooting them and visual effects, hopefully. And, it'll be bigger. It'll be bigger and better. Not that the stories will be just as good, but I think the spectacle will be up.
Yeah, very cool. So working on broadcast, I remember back in the day that Star Trek, when Enterprise was on the air, it was working about 4 or 5 weeks ahead of broadcast per episode.
Yeah.
That's the sort of time crunch that you're talking about there, isn't it? Whereas with streaming, they're waiting for the season to be done to then release it. So it gives you all of those freedoms. If there's a little bit of a delay here or there, it's not going to impact on the story you're trying to tell.
Well, yeah, they try, look, they have to have drop dates and things, and it's not a free for all. I mean, they are a business, and they have to have some sort of expectations to plan, but there is a little more freedom, and it can also be very show specific. These kind of shows now are incredibly ambitious, and they try and hold up as close to feature level as they can. So there's probably 15 shows working at this level right now, and it's a challenge because you're still trying to shoot 5 Marvel movies worth of time on a 2 Marvel movie time scale, if that makes sense.
And budget.
Well, budget has increased too, but it's at a certain point it becomes untenable. But you got WandaVision at $25 million in an episode. They're pouring everything into there, and that's for a half hour. They're pouring their heart and soul into it. I'm sure it'll be amazing. The lines between film and television are blurring in a good way, for the most part.
Is there a little bit more freedom as well in terms of the stories that you can tell? With Star Trek on streaming, they've sort of had a little bit of freedom to get a bit more real with the storylines and stuff like that, rather than the sort of broadcast television FCC requirements and stuff like that. Obviously, you can't go. It's not, like you say, it's not a free for all, but you can get a little bit more nitty gritty. I guess is sort of what I'm trying to aim at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There is the opportunity to get a little more nitty gritty. We're not going to follow the food going down Bortus's esophagus into his insides. No, I'm making a joke, but no, I mean we're going to stay.
You could if you wanted to.
We could, but we're not gonna break the tone of the show. So it's not gonna be Game of Thrones cursing. I mean, I don't care if people get mad at me saying that. Like we've set up a certain philosophy and a certain tone, and Seth has got way too much respect and class for the genre to just not throw stuff in for the sake of it. If there's additional stuff that couldn't be on broadcast, then it would be for good reason. And also broadcast, unfortunately, poor guys have some really Byzantine rules about things. We're still making craft, so there's rules everywhere. You just don't know about them.
Yeah, there'll always be rules.
Yeah. Which helps you actually get more creative sometimes. I think some of the best stuff comes out of having some limitations.
Yeah, and forcing a way to tell that part of the story that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
Exactly.
Tom, can you spoil us a little bit about what might be to come in Season 3? Maybe not necessarily spoil, but hint at what might be to come in Season 3?
Well, I think the thing I can say is that we'll still have episodic. We'll still be episodic, but a lot of the storylines you know and love will continue, and maybe not love, depending on who you are. But, but we're invested in these characters now, and you can watch it if you've never seen it before, but you will be rewarded for staying from the beginning. There'll be natural evolutions of pretty much everyone's storyline, and some new people too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wish I could literally say, and there will be more of the stuff you like. If you do research enough, people have asked certain questions on the internet repeatedly about certain aspects or certain characters, things, or stuff they wish they'd see, and I'd say stay tuned. And if you're smart enough to look on Reddit or troll a little bit, you'll figure out what I'm talking about without me saying anything.
Well, everyone needs to dive into Reddit and find out.
Yeah.
Tom, I did want to ask, Star Trek really has embraced the 21st century. I think that's the best way to put it in terms of the new Kurtzman era of Star Trek is nothing like we've seen before, and a lot of fans are against that. They miss basically what the Orville is bringing each week, and sort of looking at the Orville and saying, well, see, you can still have that nostalgic look at sci-fi the way that it was in being very optimistic and forward thinking.
Yeah.
How do you sort of respond to those sort of like the negative videos that come out every week about Star Trek and point to the Orville and say the Orville is what we wanted, that's true Star Trek now? How does that sort of feel from your perspective in the industry, as well as being the co-producer on the show that they're pointing at?
It's a tough position to be in because like that can easily be turned on us. It has been turned on us, but actually positive. And also, I think everyone is entitled to their opinion. You know, I'm not saying about Star Trek. There's, you know, other film franchises that I agree with and disagree with certain opinions that are like, you know, I mean, I've been a Star Wars fan for a long time. I have some things I'd like to ask. But no, I mean, like, look, I'm watching Picard. I love a lot of things about Picard. I mean, are there some things that maybe I would want to see that I'm not seeing? Sure, but it's impossible to make these things. Like, it's a tricky beast. So while I appreciate the flattery that people want to, you know, shine upon the Orville, I could probably go out and find just as many people shitting all over us, for lack of a better word, and can say that about Star Trek or something else. And, you know, I just know there's a lot of hardworking, talented people over there, just like there are here. And I think to each their own. So I appreciate the flattery. I would never get in the way of people's opinion, but sometimes I wish we all just play nice. I'm just saying this stuff is really hard, and there's always going to be someone on some channel making you feel bad about yourself.
I think the biggest thing that comes from this is the pedigree of Trek alum that are in the cast with you know, Andre Boromanis. Doug Drexler has joined the team this season.
Yes, and I'm sorry that we're all talking from home because he was going to join me, but he will eventually, and he's doing God's work. I know that's shocking.
It's been incredible to watch him. We're Facebook friends. It's been incredible to watch Doug.
Well, he's got a great team. I mean, I'm gonna miss you know someone in there, but Steven Lineweaver, Robert Strohmeyer, God, my Peter, our construction, you know, Lex Gassar, Patrick Beals, Daniel Sachs. I'm missing like half a dozen people here. My brain's, but like they got a great team over there who just love sci-fi. And, you know, the kind of stuff that they're making is, I mean, it's like you come up, for those few who make it over here or can pre-COVID who've seen it, it's like, you know, you're basically doing Star Tours over here. So, I mean, it's incredible what they do week to week. So, and Doug just fits right in. They don't get nearly enough credit. And all comes from Seth, because Seth is the visionary on here this. So I feel very lucky. And I think that's what you're seeing in Doug. I mean, he also, by the way, you know, wanted to work with him. And, you know, I'm obviously a big Battlestar Galactica fan and Star Trek fan. So I geek out. I mean, we're friends now, but, you know, I'm not going to lie. Like,
it is a little bit of that, really, isn't it? When you meet these people.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I don't care. You were that guy that created some of these things, or were a part of creating these things that I loved. And now here you are standing next to me. I can only imagine what it would be like to work with these people.
Yeah. No, I mean, and Doug never had to give me a thing, you know, and I would, you know, obviously he's a great guy and I'm happy to meet, but, you know, he's given me a few things for my office. Like, I mean, first of all, the Viper that's on my desk, that's from him, from Eagle Moss that he had. I mean, like, I have one of Freudian slip. I have one of Worf's old noses. You know, like, you know, little things, some decals from one of the models from Deep Space Nine, just because he's had it and he knows I'm a fan, and like, that's just like extra layer on the cake. But just seeing the stuff he comes up with, and obviously eventually you will see. But I don't want to belittle the, you know, I mean, it's that whole gang. And I'm still missing other people, and, you know, props, and, you know, Marion costumes, and like, there's just some really super dedicated people on this show that bring some freshness to it, and it's gonna be fun.
It is, obviously takes a whole army of a team to put this sort of show together, and
yeah,
I think the brilliant thing with the Orville is that it's doing that sci-fi that is being optimistic and is getting out there, and it's coming to Hulu in the States. It's been confirmed that it's coming back to SBS, the broadcaster here in Australia as well. So it's getting a broadcast run at least somewhere in the world, which I think is fantastic.
We're working all that stuff out, so we will desperately make sure people can see it. We're a little ways off, so also the world's ending, so, you know, we'll deal with that too. I'm joking. Mostly. Ish.
Mostly. We'll see how we go when this one gets to air. Well, what is sort of the timeline, Tom? Last question. What's the sort of timeline that we're sort of looking at to get the Orville Season 3 out into the world? I think it's later this year, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where we're aiming. TBD. I mean, there's a lot in flux right now, so I can't answer, and if any answer I give, it'll be wrong. So I would say TBD.
Fantastic. Tom Costantino, thank you so much for a little bit of your time. I'll let you dive back in because there's meetings and productions to be had.
Yes, thank you so much.